The ADF has a top organ code named Kanana, a local Uganda word referring to 8,000, and was headed by Mukulu before he was last seen in April 2014 and subsequently arrested in Tanzania. He left most of the commanders under the leadership of his deputy, Sheikh Musa Baluku. In the wake of these UPDF airstrikes and artillery bombings of the ADF four major camps of Medina, initially Jamil Mukulu's main base, Kamango among others, were infiltrated to break down the ADF command structure, detailing who is who and their roles. Sheikh Musa Baluku is the current Amir, the supreme leader of the ADF. He assumed overall command of the ADF group operating in northeast of Beni town in mid-May 2015. He is considered by most to be the final decision maker within the ADF in the Congo. He is a historical member, part of the first generation of the ADF. He has occupied various roles, one of the most important being the ADF's chief Islamic judge, who is responsible for deciding punishments according to Sharia law. For ADF members who break the group's rules, he is notoriously violent, presiding over beheadings, crucifixion, and death by firing squad. He is married to Jamil Mukulu's stepdaughter, only identified as Stella. Musa Baluku is a Mkonzobe tribe from Chambo 1 village, Karambi sub-county in Kassadha district. RASHID Hood LUKWAGO Swaibu is the ADF overall commander. He is considered to be the second most senior ADF member behind Baluku. Like Baluku, LUKWAGO is a historical member and is part of the group that moved from Uganda to DRC. Jamil Mukulu appointed LUKWAGO as the army commander around 2004, meaning that he is ultimately in charge of ADF fighters' operational deployments. LUKWAGO is a Muganda by tribe from Bwaise in Kampala. ALIAS Seguja, alias Feza Mulalo, is a senior ADF military commander, notoriously known in Beni and Butembo territories as Feza. He is a field commander who often takes multiple deadly attacks against the civilian populations. He currently heads a mobile camp in the Mayangosi forest along the Kasindi-Beni highway, where he is charged with creating insecurity along the highway to drive away civilians and FADAC when the ADF needs to transit between its southern camps and those in Eringeti. Elias also serves as Chief of Combat and Operations. He worked with the ADF artillery before becoming a commander. Seguja has at least 2 wives in the bush. The first wife has twins. He is a Ugandan and a historical member of the group. NASSER Abdu HAMID DIIRU Elias Chikute. He took over the role of Chief of Combat Operations in early 2014 after the death of Filippo. Currently is second in command at Camp Mwalika. Before being transferred to Mwalika, he was briefly stationed at Camp BRAIDA. Named for the ADF logisticians, Hamid is a historical member of the group and served previously in the armory before being a battalion commander at Mwalika from 2004 to 2005. Hamid is a Muganda from central region of Buganda in Uganda. Musa KIBUYE Bararu Elias Canada is a field commander in charge of Canada Camp. The ADF uses Canada Camp as a transit point for recruits who are being trafficked from the group's southern base, Mwalika, to the northern bases around Eringeti. He is responsible for training Congolese civilians, among others, who have been forcibly conscripted into the ADF, and ensures abductees do not escape. He is a historical member of the ADF. KATEMBO Elias Fiki, age 23. He is a commander and a lead military instructor at CIBG camp. He is a son of the rebel leader of the National Army for the Liberation of Uganda, NALU. But when ADF and NALU split, Rafiki converted to Islam and became an ADF rebel. He was made an instructor in 2006 when the ADF saw an influx of new recruits and has spent most of his time since in the camps rather than being sent out on missions. Although KATEMBO was born in Congo and grew up in the bush, he's Mkonzo by tribe and his family is from Kasesa district in Uganda. AMIGO KIBIRIGE alias Simba is the overall commander of Camp Mwalika, sometimes referred to as AMIGO Camp, the southern ADF base that is used as a training camp for foreign recruits and medical headquarters for sick and wounded fighters. His primary responsibility in the camp are coordinating transportation of foreign recruits to the camp, organizing and receiving support from external networks, and acquiring supplies for the group. AMIGO is a historical member of the ADF. AMIGO is from Masaka district in Uganda, but he is believed to be of Rwandan origin. Richard MUGISHA alias MUSA is a battlefield commander and the stepson of former ADF leader Jamel Mukulu. He is reportedly the commander of Camp Bango, one of the 3 camps that makes up the group's headquarters in the Medina complex. He was reportedly a contender for the leadership of the ADF in 2015, but MUSA Baluku was able to consolidate power before Richard could assume control. Richard is of Rwanda's origin, is a talented artist, and is social and well-liked. He completed elementary school in the United Kingdom and is well-educated. He has 2 wives and multiple children with both. ABDALLAH LITOFE alias Toyota is the leader of the small mobile camp charged with patrolling and causing terror along the Eringeti-Oyichia highway. Previously, he was responsible for ambushing civilians and FADAC units in the area around the historical Medina camp. He was abducted from the Mutwanga region of DRC in the late 1990s when he was 7 years old. He is married to KATEMBO's sister, KIBUYE. JABERI ANSA alias Katusha is a field commander, member of the artillery and the chief instructor of the ADF. Rather than being based at the Mwalika training camp, he generally oversees the instruction of fighters after they have finished the basic training and have moved to Medina. He was one of the 3 instructors that administered the Special Forces training in 2007. At one point, he was temporarily appointed Army Commander by Jamel Mukulu in 2013 when Hood did not follow a briefing that Jamel gave. Jaberi is a Muganda from the central Buganda region in Uganda. He is married to at least 2 children and is described as jolly and well-liked. BRAIDA is responsible for gathering food for the ADF from villages. He keeps an inventory of what type of food is in which villages. He knows exactly where to lead troops when they need something. BRAIDA helps to identify civilians who are suspected FADAC or UN collaborators and reports to ADF fighters to take action. He currently heads a small camp in Mabupu. BRAIDA is a Musoga from Busoga region in Uganda. He is married to a Congolese woman. He has a son and a daughter. He is considered one of the more radical members of the group. Benjamin KISOKERANIO alias Ben is in charge of intelligence, finances and supplies within the ADF. Benjamin is the son of Bwambale KISOKERANIO, the leader of the National Army for the Liberation of Uganda, NALU, a Ugandan rebel group based in the DRC that was fighting against the Ugandan government. Benjamin acted as a go-between for the ADF and their benefactors in Sudan. He reportedly worked with Hassan al-Turabi, an influential hardliner politician in Sudan, and helped facilitate the first transfer of weapons from Sudan to the ADF in the mid-1990s. While in Sudan, he also received training in improvised explosive devices. Benjamin is a Mukonzo from Kasese district in Uganda. He has a sister in Kampala who helped the ADF transport recruits across the border to their DRC bases. He is considered a historical member of the ADF. He has 2 wives and several children. Benjamin acts as a judge in the ADF courts alongside Baluku and other top members. Dr. AMISI KASADHA, alias Kalume, is in charge of the medical wing of the ADF and is a senior instructor for fighters based in the northern ADF camps. He was of the 3 instructors that administered the Special Forces training in 2007. KASADHA is a historical member of the group. He has acted as a division intelligence officer and subsequently served as Director Military Intelligence from 2004 to 2008, covering internal and external security matters. He is a Musoga from the Busoga region of Uganda. He has had multiple wives in the bush, and at least 3 of which were abductees, and has 2 children. He is reportedly very close to Baluku. KAYIRA Muhammad, alias Ongudipe. He is currently the Chief of Combat Operations. Previously, he was ABDALLAH, Commander's second in command, when Commander was a male of the ADF. KAYIRA has in the past been in charge of ADF finances and administration, including responsibilities for camp security, feeding, the allotments of wives, and organizing patrols. He is also in charge of the group's early attacks against civilians. He approves looting along the Kasindi-Beni highway and gives orders to kill civilians suspected of collaborating with the Congolese army. KAYIRA is a Mganda by tribe, hails from Mbale in the eastern region of Uganda. Has a wife and family in the bush camps in the DRC. Timothy Sibasi, UBC News.